Ordinary Gentlemen. Own it on DVD today.
Another sellout crowd as tonight a rematch of last year's Eastern Conference Finals. It's the New Jersey Nets visiting the Detroit Pistons, featuring some of the game's best. Number one in the NBA in assists, Jason Kidd lacing him up for the final time before tip-off. He leads the Nets, of course. Ben Wallace, number one in the NBA in block shots, as he leads the Pistons in a matchup of two of the best teams in the East. And good evening, everyone, and happy holidays. Along with Bill Walton, Mike Green on hand, Doris Burke will join us shortly. This is two of the better teams in the East. Obviously, last year's Eastern Conference finalists, in which the Nets won in a sweep in 4 games. But two teams, Bill, have had some bumps in the road along the way, including New Jersey. Last year, the finals. This year, they've had injuries. They've had turmoil. The sale of the team is a story. But they're starting to play better now. Are they back on track?
Mike, this is a team, the New Jersey Nets, that has supreme confidence. They feel they can turn it on at any time. They have used the adversity and turmoil to their advantage. They've really turned it up lately, winning 7 of their last 9. The running high wire act is back. Richard Jefferson has been their best player over the last 3 weeks. But this New Jersey team, they have a devil of a time winning here in this building. They need to get it done tonight because they got a big weekend ahead of them.
Except in the playoffs, of course, from last year. But Detroit changed coaches, changed personnel. They've struggled a bit. But by the end of the year, can they be better than last year's team?
They should be better. The talent is here. They're using convenient excuses. They need to get going right now. 9 of their next 12 games are here at home. This would be a great time for Detroit to jumpstart their season.
Let's take a look at tonight's starting lineups. In a second meeting between these two, start with the front court. Richard Jefferson, Kenyon Martin, and Jason Collins up front for New Jersey. Tayshaun Prince, Ben Wallace, and Mehmet Okur up front for the Pistons.
Can Okur come up with an offensive game to satisfy Larry Brown?
Meanwhile, Jason Kidd and Kerry Kittles in the backcourt for New Jersey. Chauncey Billups and Richard Hamilton for Detroit. Two very talented players, but they've been up and down.
Billups, highly erratic. When he puts points on the board, the Detroit Pistons, they're nearly unbeatable.
Now you look at that number, Nets have had their problems here, but the games that matter, the Nets had no problem. They won both games here last year in the playoffs when they swept them in the Eastern Conference Finals.
The games that matter? Every game matters. What? Are you all right?
All right,
have you seen the doctor?
Let's rephrase it. The games that matter much more.
Happy holidays, Mike.
Thank you, Bill. Our officiating crew on hand. Crew chief Bennett Salvatore will throw it up, along with Leon Wood, the former player, and Mark Davis. The Pistons win it. Pistons at home this year are 9-4. They've won their last 2 at the Palace, and as mentioned, it's a packed house. It is the sellout crowd. Then Wallace getting inside, comes up short. Jefferson the rebound as Martin and Okur tumble.
Larry Brown desperately trying to get Ben Wallace involved.
Kittle's off the mark, and good hustle from Billups to knock it away from Jason Kidd.
Kittle's been playing extremely well. Now wearing the headband for the first time since the initial game at Villanova.
It's become a thing for the team, so at least for some of them. Not all will acquiesce and go with a headband look.
I'll believe it when Jason Kidd starts wearing it.
Shot clock down to 5. Martin on Mehmet Okur. Nice turnaround shot way off the mark, however. And a 24-second violation with the air ball. Mehmet Okur's not going to find many more tougher defenders than Kenyon Martin.
And he should never play back to the basket against Kenyon Martin. Kenyon's going to bang him. He's going to hit him. Have Memo turn and face and go by and put it on the floor, get in the air.
New Jersey, meanwhile, a game under 500 on the road. They're 6-7 on the road. They've lost their last 2 road games. Kenyon Martin, quick shot off the mark.
So much fun to play with Jason. Every time you get open, the ball is there at precisely the right moment.
And as mentioned, he's number 1 in the NBA in assists again, just under 9.5 per game. Richard Hamilton over Collins. Good contesting of the shot by Collins. Jefferson tips it to his teammate.
Hamilton has been the best and most consistent performer this year for Larry Brown.
But so much has been talked, Bill, about the Pistons and offensive continuity. They just sometimes don't seem to be on the same page as they're getting used to Larry Brown and what he offers as the coach and what he wants them to do. But when we talked to Brown before the game, as Jefferson's off the mark, he was more concerned with their defense.
He always is. That's his background. Playing Frank McGuire, Dean Smith, the legendary system that he comes out of in North Carolina.
Wallace. Collins knocked it away, but it touched the baseline, so it's still Piston ball 7 on the shot clock. And let's welcome indoors Burke.
Thanks, Mike. The New Jersey Nets have had to deal with a rash of injuries through the first 27 games. Most notably for tonight, Aaron Williams out with a groin injury. I asked Richard Jefferson, who's one of 2 guys who have played in every single game. He said essentially the hardest part is every guy who's on the floor is being asked to do too much in terms of minutes and production. But obviously Williams, that center spot, what was once thought a position too deep, is now a dirt for the New Jersey Nets, Mike.
Well, it's both teams have had depth as a big part of it. For the Nets, it's a huge story with them. And even though some of the guys coming back, they're still banged up. Jason Kidd's not 100%. Lucius Harris, who's on the bench, is not 100%. Neither is Jason Collins, who's been banged up.
Aaron Train Williams is a major loss here, one of the premier backup centers in the entire league. Byron Scott's adjustment is going to be to go small and play Kmart in the middle if need be. Oh, nice. Blocked by Okoro. Nice answer on what should have been an easy 2 from Martin. Where'd that come from?
And Hamilton, we still haven't had a bucket.
You noticed.
And in case you're wondering, there has never been a scoreless game in the history of the NBA.
That's the beautiful thing about history, is that there's always a first time.
We've gone now nearly 3 minutes. 10 shots have been taken, 10 have been missed. Jefferson knocked out of bounds, but a foul call. Bennett Salvatore says he was hit on the way up, so Jefferson will shoot 2 free throws.
Memo Okoro recovering magnificently. Get in the air. A little bit of a slow delivery. I don't think Kenyon Martin had any sense whatsoever that Memo was even there, much less had that sort of athleticism.
And certainly to challenge, as Martin was right there. So the first foul on Prince, so Jefferson will shoot 2.
A reflection of Larry Brown's numbers. But it wasn't nice in his office tonight. He had that ball commemorating his 1,300th victory as a professional coach. Now that would include ABA victories as well.
Yep, he's in his 32nd season as a head coach, both in pro and in college. 21st season as an NBA head coach. In his 17 Detroit A's, he's been with Denver, New Jersey, San Antonio, the Clippers, Indiana, Philadelphia, and now the Pistons.
And don't forget UCLA and Kansas as well.
And of course his 88 stint, Billups. Off the mark, Jefferson has timed his jump. The kid right there to help out.
Speaking of UCLA, you're staying for the UCLA game here tomorrow against Michigan, correct?
That's tomorrow as we finally get our first field goal of the game. It took us a little over 3 minutes, but Jason Kidd knocks it down.
Transition points, always a critical element for New Jersey. Last year in the playoff Eastern Conference Finals, they just dominated Detroit in that statistic.
Wallace just backing in on Collins. Wallace again looking for a shot goal this year over Larry Brown.
And I like it. We've seen good, strong moves a week ago at Indiana. He was brilliant. Reminiscent of Dr. J converting at the hoop.
Well, the key for Wallace is that it has not affected the rest of what he does. As Jefferson gets a nice bounce with a shooter's touch. You know, some guys, they start thinking of offense more. It takes away from their defense and their rebounding. Not the case with Ben Wallace. Meanwhile, we talked about the Pistons defense. For New Jersey, the #1 reason why they go to the NBA Finals 2 years in a row is their defense is what sets them apart. Wallace taking another shot up short. Kittle's a rebound.
I think it's Jason Kidd. I think defense should be a constant.
Unfortunately, that's not the case. So Okoro off the miss.
It's 5-2 halfway through the first quarter. That's great defense.
Hamilton bumped by Martin.
That's not a foul. Rip Hamilton.
As a player, again, you see how the officials calling the game early. They're letting a lot of bumps go, so obviously letting them play early as Prince throws it away. Well, Ben Wallace, you see the different numbers this season, shooting almost 10 per game. And averaging 9.5.
But the percentage plummeting, and that's not good. Ben Wallace should be shooting 55 to 62% on the season. He should be 40. Yikes.
He did. In his last game, he did hit a three-pointer, Bill. His Kittle's able to hit that two-pointer. The Nets are off to a 5-point lead. Just over 5 minutes gone by here in the first.
Rod Thorne and put a nice team here together in New Jersey. None of the moves that they made in the offseason worked for them. Just like Detroit moves up towards bringing in Larry Brown.
Hamilton say that move hasn't worked, bringing in Larry Brown. Mr. Overreaction is Kittles with a good hard drive inside. Kittles can't finish, and O'Cool the rebound.
This team, Detroit, should be at the top of the Eastern Conference. They've got the talent. And the excuses about the other guys, Curry and Robinson, not being there, I'm not buying.
See, as Billups misses that one, I think Cliff Robinson and John Barry and Michael Curry were very key parts that they miss.
They're a good player, but they're not as good as Patient Vince. Not as good as Memo or
Nice save for Kidd. Crowd wanted to travel.
up against the shot clock.
The extra pass, Kenyon Martin. Shot clock winding down. Martin inside to Collins. Blocked by O'Cool again. And another 24-second violation.
Who's leading the league in shot blocking? Ben Wallace or Memo O'Cool?
O'Cool with his first 2 blocks of the game. Wallace a defensive presence as well. But it's the Nets with a 5-point early lead. With a quick 5-point lead, you can decide which players will be all-star starters. Log on to NBA.com and cast your ballot for the 2004 NBA All-Star Game. Votes pouring in for Ben Wallace, currently second in voting behind Vince Carter.
But he leads in centers, so he'll be definitely starting as a center for the Eastern Conference All-Star game. Not quite sure where they're going to put Jermaine O'Neal on that list, who has established himself as the premier big man individually.
Martin knocks it away. 3-on-1 the other way for the Nets. Kittles gets inside and able to finish. You saw before Kenyon Martin working on his hands. You didn't see where he banged it, but it had been bothering him. However, he came up with a strip down the other end of the floor.
Kenyon Martin is as tough as they come. Larry Brown has got to be just totally disgusted with the transition defense of the Pistons.
6 straight points by Detroit. Prince off the mark, good boxing out from Martin. And good looking to push. When you play New Jersey, transition defense is always #1 key. Martin takes it away from O'Cool and gets the foul. Chance for a 2-point play for Kenyon Martin.
With the left, very nice. The beautiful thing, though, about that whole play was set up by Richard Jefferson. He made the nice defensive stab at Tayshaun Prince. And then he just kept right on going. And when the long rebound came out to Jason Kidd, the transition opportunity where the Nets are very, very good.
But I like it. O'Cool had him boxed out, but Martin, most times you see a player call for a loose ball foul trying to poke that away, but Martin able to use his jumping ability to tip it off the backboard.
Tip it up to himself, a la Dennis Rodman.
Terrific play from Kenyon Martin. That's now on an 8-0 run.
You don't think Rodman's coming back to the end? Oh, what a pass.
But Hamilton can hit it. Count the 2, ball on the cylinder. So 2 points for Richard Hamilton.
You don't think Rodman's coming back to the NBA?
I think it's highly unlikely. Why would you like to see him back there?
Well, this is a talent-driven league. If you've got talent, you can play no matter what you've done before, as long as you're not in prison. But I don't think he's got the talent anymore. This is a young man's game at 42.
14 on the shot clock. Jersey again with the good start. On the road where they've struggled at times. Well, pretty quiet for a sellout here at the Palace in the early going. Still recovering from their holiday festivities. Jason Kidd knocks down the 3, and just like that, Jersey up by 10.
The reason they're quiet is because their team is stinking it up. They got 4 points.
That's perhaps one reason.
Where's Chauncey Billups? Where's Rip Hamilton?
They've had some slow starts. That's been a problem for the Pistons during the course of the season.
Larry Brown very concerned about that coming in our pregame meeting.
Billups gets inside. Not even close. So they get a second opportunity. A lot of people will point to the difference in coaching between Carlisle and Brown. Carlisle, very structured offense, pretty much set plays every time down the floor. Whereas with Larry Brown, he likes the players just go out and play. Prince makes a nice move. But Brown, he kind of poo-poos them. Again, he thinks it's defense. You play hard defensively, the other stuff will take care of itself. Nice save from Jefferson. And Kidd knocks down another 2.
Larry Brown needs a timeout desperately. He's just going to let them play through it. But they've lost 6 of their last 8 games. This is a team that has not come together at any stretch of the imagination. The two victories were against Utah and Chicago. Both teams struggling at the time they played Detroit.
Prince tying up with 2 on the shot clock. Keyshawn Prince from downtown just as the shot clock expired. And they needed that bucket. Nice back cut. Hills with the left hand. That's moving very well.
This is a completely different team than we saw 3 weeks ago. Since Alonzo went out and had the kidney transplant, they've really sort of realized that and taken an attitude of gratitude.
Hamilton, good drive, and Cruz tip won't go. Can't get it to fall. Pistons 4 of 17. Kittles. And Kidd with a rebound. Jefferson.
Nice passing.
Wallace though deflects it out of bounds, so it's still going to be New Jersey ball. We'll take a timeout with 2:10 remaining here in the first.
New Jersey is outworking Detroit. Larry Brown's got his work cut out for him tonight. Beautiful day here in the Northeast. But I'm just glad to see the guys get out of the studio and mingle with the people a bit. I just want to know, though, if Bill Laimbeer needs security when he goes outside.
Meanwhile, Damian Martin has had a couple of dangerous dunk attempts. First one was blocked. That time he missed it, but he did get the foul. He'll shoot a couple as Joker Bracha picks up his first.
The execution for New Jersey, very crisp. These guys have warmed up properly, and they are ready to go. The sluggishness that we're seeing for the Pistons is unacceptable on their home court.
This is another free throw, but again with New Jersey, they've never, even their 2 years going to the NBA Finals, they're not a great half-court set team. They force bad shots, they get out on the break, even on makes sometimes they get the break going, and that's all led by Jason Kidd, but he's got guys that can run the floor with him, and they're getting good looks.
That's why it's critical that Richard Jefferson, now Lucius Harris, Kerry Kittles, and Rodney Rogers stroke perimeter jumpers off Kidd's creativity and penetration in the half court.
Look at the numbers for the Pistons, 4 of 17. Rogers and Harris come into the game.
Larry Brown coming with Bracha, trying to change things up, unhappy with Memo Moore.
Jason Kidd falls for the foul, a little aggressive on his ball denial on Richard Hamilton. That's his first. And Aaron Scott. It has not been an easy year from him. Of course, a few games ago, after a bad loss in Memphis, Jason Kidd went off on his head coach.
You don't think that Jason Kidd really beats Byron Scott?
Well, you'd have to have Jason Kidd down. But they two talk all the time about they have a good relationship. Bracha got a hand on that. Rogers can't finish it. Now, there's obviously differences of opinion between the two. The key is, can they survive together? Can they continue to work together? Another turnover. Boy, the Pistons so sloppy, and it's now 22-9.
What did Larry Brown say in our meeting? He said, rebound the ball as a result of great defense. That's not happening. Get back on defense so that the unforced turnovers don't lead to just uncontested layups. That's not happening.
Prince misfires for Bracha with a rebound. Martin swats it back. Prince Kidd the rebound. They are now 4 for 20 from the field.
And the way that the big men are running the floor in support of Jason Kidd, Detroit's not able to pinch Kidd in transition defense.
Bad shot from Rodney Rogers. If indeed it was his shot. Final minute. Another rough first quarter here for the Detroit Pistons.
Where's Chauncey Billups?
Billups still without a point. Martin knocks it out of bounds. Kenny Martin felt it was off for Bracha, but it's still going to be Piston ball with 3 on the shot clock. And this was the game December 13th when the Nets played in Memphis against the Grizzlies. They turned it over 30 times and lost by 47. It was after that game in the locker room. Jason Kidd could be heard screaming by reporters outside the locker room as the shot clock winding down here. Wallace misses a shot. And that's when it was first reported that Kidd was yelling at his teammates. Kidd was upset with that. Didn't talk to the media for a couple of days because he felt they portrayed the media wrong, which they did. They just didn't know who he was yelling at. It turns out he was yelling at Byron Scott. Scott says that since then he's talked with Jason Kidd, and he's also talked in front of the whole team. And feels everything's okay now as Jefferson comes up short.
Since then, they've been playing a lot better basketball, too. Got some more young.
Chucky Atkins for three. Now they'll review it, but that ball clearly left his hand before the buzzer.
And finally, something to cheer about. Larry Brown has to go deep to his bench. But Larry Brown telling us that the problem is the starters have been getting off to such slow starts that the pressure to play perfect on the bench has just been overwhelming.
Bennett Salvatore will check the instant replay. They have to do it whenever a bucket scored and the clock's 0-0-0.
Ben
Wallace, the outlet pass, key there.
That's just outstanding execution, and as Chucky Atkins continues his excellent performance in all aspects of the game. Now, he didn't have a good shooting game in the last outing at Milwaukee, a game that was dominated by Joe Smith of the Bucks.
Count the bucket. Pistons missed 18 of their first 22 shots from the field. Chucky Atkins, though, hits a three. Just like that, Pistons back within 10. Second quarter is set to begin at the Palace of Auburn Hills. New Jersey Nets have run out to a 10-point lead. They like to run, and they've got their fast break points. You see number 3 in the NBA. Normally they're the first. Denver with a terrific start this season, but New Jersey getting it done in the fast break here tonight, Bill.
Normally is correct, because last year they led the NBA, but with point guards getting caught along the baseline and with poor passes that Tayshaun Prince can't handle, everybody from Detroit is pinched in underneath that basket. That just leads to wide open transition opportunities, and Richard Jefferson can throw it down with the best of them.
There you see already 6 fast break points for the Nets, so ahead of their normal pace.
Now Robert Pack's in the game. Key acquisition for Rod Thorne and Byron Scott.
Let's go to Doris Burke.
In both transition and the half court, we've got to be able to keep New Jersey in front of us. On the offensive end, Billy touched on something you said. A lot of passivity on the offensive end, a lot of guys standing around. He said, use the dribble to attack this defense, guys.
All right, Doris, as Rogers knocks down a shot.
Well, Larry Brown's got his second unit out there with Bracha and Corliss Williamson. We're glad that Corliss is back with the team now.
Corliss Williamson left the team for a few days. A family member had surgery, so he flew back to Arkansas. Just came back today. Lost the ball this time, however. And he had the first meeting between these two. It was back on November 9th right here at the Palace. The Pistons won with a big fourth quarter. They won the game by 14. Corliss Williamson had a season-high 20 in that game.
Detroit has won 17 of the last 18 regular season games between these two teams in this building. That's domination. Nice pass. Bracha just coming into his own in the NBA here after being a huge star in the European leagues.
That's inside, knocked it around by Harris. That's a tough adjustment for a lot of players, especially coming over for Europe, because you have got so many different things you have to adjust to. He's 31 years old, is in his 3rd year from Serbia, Montenegro. Of course, last year missed a lot of games, had that irregular heartbeat, had surgery in the offseason, overcome his knocks down a 3. But whether or not he's back next year, you don't know. His contract is up. He's starting to get back into shape. All the medication he had to take, he found himself fatigued all the time. But trying to get some good stamina now, playing a little bit better.
He's a very skilled player who likes to bang, so who wouldn't want him?
Robert can't hit. Coach tries to keep it alive, and it's going to be Pistons ball.
You know, it was great to see Robert Pack today because he just joined the team recently as they've struggled to replace Anthony Johnson, who's now doing a great job for Indiana. But Robert Pack was playing for the Denver Nuggets when Chauncey Billups was in high school in Denver. And Robert used to go watch Chauncey play. He was a legend in the Denver metropolitan area.
Robert Pack played for a lot of NBA teams when Chauncey Billups was in high school. He has bounced around the league.
This is his 16th.
Actually, it's 18. A loose ball foul is going to go against the Pistons.
My printer must have been out of ink.
Fracher picks up his 2nd foul. Let's see if I can count right for Robert Pack. Portland, Denver, Washington, New Jersey, Dallas, Minnesota, and Detroit.
Well, Robert told me 6. So
he probably forgot a few of the stats. He's been traded 5 times in his career. He's had some good years. And this is his second stint with New Jersey. Rogers comes up short.
I had the privilege of broadcasting Robert Pack in a great backcourt trio of Wayne Cooper and Harold Miner and Robert Pack, coached by George Raveling. That was a squad.
He played a lot of colleges too. He likes to bounce around. I fell on college down low.
Robert Pack played for Alfred Wallace High School in New Orleans. Alfred Wallace, one of the great civil rights leaders in American history.
He averaged 18 a game one season. That's when he was with Washington. It's a nice turnaround shot.
Good to see corners get a little bit of rhythm. That first ball, he just bobbled horrendously.
And you look at all the horrible shooting belt. Detroit's only down by 7, despite the fact they're shooting 27%.
And we're going to see right now just what Robert Pack can do now, because generally New Jersey falls apart when Jason Kidd goes to the bench.
Lucius Harris way off the mark. Pack knocks it out of bounds, but it's Pistons ball. And the Pistons have bounced back nicely. Despite all the problems in the shooting in the early going, Chucky Atkins on the bench gets the Pistons back into this game. New head chief with the Knickerbockers, Isaiah Thomas. Kevin Frazier takes a peek when we come back. New Jersey by 7 here in Detroit.
I had moments ago an opportunity to speak with Rod Thorne, and I asked him about the possibilities of his presence being absent in New Jersey. He said absolutely not true. I guess Mike and Bill, the only thing that remains to be seen is whether or not he is there next year. Only time will tell, guys.
So much in flux with the Nets, all hinging upon the sale, which has been dragged out for so long and really put a big cloud over the team.
All right, let me ask you, do the players, do they even think about that? Is that something on their minds?
On a professional basis, no. On a personal basis, yes, because they all have families, they have lives. These are all mature adults and have other things going on, children in school, wives that have businesses that are going on.
Probably like that last call.
But when you see the general manager on the road at Christmas time, that's always an interesting thing. You say, what's going on? You're here to fire the coach. You're here to trade the star players. But Rod Thorne is always a regular on the road.
Right, and more now, offensive foul. Down the other way, Rodney Rogers pushing off to get free. In this day and age now, general managers do travel a lot more than they have in the past with all the charters and stuff. But the key thing with Rod Thorne and Byron Scott, Rod Thorne made a decision that he was not going to give Byron Scott a contract extension. Scott's contract is up after this year. That rarely happens in the NBA, where you let a coach go into the final year of his contract. Attempted alley-oop for Tremaine Folks, and that's something that can come back to bite you a little bit.
But that's been made very clear to Byron that they're not going to saddle the new ownership group with a coach that they might not want.
Hack gets inside, misses the left-hander, who brought you the rebound. He said part of his reason for he didn't feel the urgency. Chucky Atkins, good explosive move, but he got too far underneath the hoop. And then a late whistle afterwards. Tremaine Folks called for the foul. He said that he felt with the type of players that he has in this team, that it wouldn't have any bearing whatsoever in how they viewed Byron Scott. Now, obviously, with the incident that he had with Jason Kidd this year, the incident after last year's finals, those two are not always on the same page, so it has created some problems.
That's what's expected when you lose. How many teams fire the coach after they win the championship? Other than Magic, of course.
Well, how many teams fire a coach after he helps take them to 2 straight NBA finals?
Byron Scott is a top coach. He's got a great life, beautiful, healthy family, a lot of great things going for him. It'll all work out.
Back foul as he drives to the basket. He got kicked on the way. And his foul goes against Chucky Atkins. Atkins picks up his first foul. Now they change it. Tremaine Folks with his second.
How many points have the Nets scored since Jason Kidd went to the bench?
Not many. They've missed their last 6 shots from the field.
He might be underpaid at $103 million.
First, in terms of decisions in the offseason for New Jersey, that was the #1 decision, re-signing Jason Kidd. Collins has to put it up and able to put it in over Corliss.
Jason Kidd quickly back up off the bench, but how many times have we seen teams overpay guys that they've already got on their roster? Weber, now Houston, now Jason Kidd.
Folks, finding Williamson.
Nice fast break opportunity.
Nice give and go. Harris, but a beautiful block by Folks, and then a whistle after.
Larry Brown just must be beside himself with his transition defense. Non-existent, deplorable.
So another foul. Tonight on ESPN2. That foul on Verbrace, his third. The Minnesota Timberwolves are red hot, one of the hotter teams in the NBA in Portland against the Trailblazers at 10:30. And then tomorrow night on NBA TV, these Nets in Indianapolis against the Pacers. That's a tough back-to-back for New Jersey. And here's a guy, Bill, Lucius Harris, who's had bad ankles all season long. Both of them have bothered him. He's a very underrated player for this team because he gets a lot of minutes as the backup point guard. He's one of their best perimeter shooters. He's a very smart defender. They need him healthy for them to do the things that they've done the past couple of years.
And when they got off to the horrendous start, what were they, 7-13 to start the season? And he was on the injured list for that bad back most of the time. The back is still bothering him. His ankles are killing him. It's a tough league out here.
That's back in his zone again. Williamson finding the seam.
Williamson has not had the season. He's had a tremendously difficult time adjusting to the new role for him.
A hard foul. Williamson knocking Jefferson down. Jefferson bounces right back up as Corliss Williamson picks up his first.
That's what's called a good weak side rotation. From above the rim, Richard Jefferson, a nice opportunity. Coming high and hard, elbows and knees first. RJ will probably think twice about that the next time. Straight out of Bill Beer's playbook.
Jefferson, meanwhile, it's the free throw. Nets have been to the line 8 times, and the Pistons have yet to shoot a free throw.
The Pistons have nothing in transition. Everything has been a grinded out, set up play with over dribbling. Chauncey Billups getting nothing done. Chucky Atkins had a nice little job, but Rip Hamilton, we were here a game, he had 44 points. And he really hasn't had any opportunities tonight. And he's a player, Hamilton, that needs Billups and Atkins to create for him.
They've been stretches, but there's been no consistency. Foul called on Kenyon Martin. Martin picks up his first. It's their second team foul. Just past the midway point of the second. This is an Eastern Conference game for sure. Physical play down low. Plenty of emphasis on the defensive end. And a low-scoring affair. A rematch of last year's Eastern Conference. He's one of 11 players in the league averaging a double-double. He just keeps getting better and better every year as he misses the free throw.
He also sets the physical tone in presence. Without him, the New Jersey Nets really don't have a team. I mean, without him, they're not going anywhere. When he was out with that sprained ankle early in the season,
missed 5 games.
It was a nightmare for the Nets.
I will not rest until he makes first-team All-NBA. He deserves, on defense that is, he deserves to be first-team All-NBA defense.
Ahead of Kevin Garnett and Tim Duncan. I disagree.
Well, you need 3 players in the front court. Who would you put else? Jack?
You got to have a center who goes by position.
I let Duncan have center and Garnett.
And Duncan is a whole.
So those 3 would be my front court. He deserves to be there. Billups way off the mark. That is my quest, Bill, to get him on first-team All-NBA defense.
How many votes do you have?
Fortunately, just 1.
There's your problem.
I'm hoping for some help from you. Shot clock. Oh, nice. Beautiful pass from Jefferson. And Kidd again. The extra pass with the shot clock winding down.
Don't you love it when everybody gets involved? And just the plays, you can see the quick reaction of a Jason Kidd.
This is such an unselfish team, and it's because their star player is as unselfish as it gets in terms of passing the ball. Kidd with 4 assists. And a good all-around game with 8 points. Wallace. Jefferson and Kenyon Martin battling. Mark Davis comes in, calls a double foul. They'll each get a personal. Will count as a team foul. But Martin picks up his second. Williamson picks up his third.
And also on number 34, Wallace Williams.
Let's take a look once again at this terrific passer.
Over the top, the curl down the lane, and the layback. He knew, without even looking, that Kenyon Martin was coming. And that's called a sense of where you are. Are you old enough to remember when Kenyon Martin used to get in fights after plays like that? Wallace Williamson.
It's an area he's really improved at as Okura picks up that. I also think NBA should not get out hockey on that pass. Richard Jefferson deserved an assist, giving it to the kid who got the assist. You don't think so?
What, you can have 2 assists with 1 basket?
It's just a joke, Bill.
You would have one. Prince. Sean Prince with a pretty move. And Prince, one of the few Pistons shooting rallies, 3 of 6 from the field, gets 7 points. He's taking shots. How many shot attempts did Chauncey Billups take?
Collins fighting inside.
Nice ball movement.
Kittles. That's a 3. And Okura, boy, guys getting whacked around. This is a very physical game, but the officials are letting them play at both ends. It's been consistently called or no called, if you will.
Imagine what the score would be if Richard Jefferson was making his outside shot.
Jefferson contests that shot from Prince.
Ball over the top. Too high.
Able to save it.
What athleticism by RJ. Stick a fork in it.
Jefferson blocked by Wallace. Still got the shot off. Jason Collins can't believe that there wasn't a foul call there.
That will go down as one of the prettiest plays in the history of the NBA.
Just under 3 minutes remaining in the second. A physical battle at the Palace. And right now the road team.
Collins has been the story of the game here. Bill Laimbeer set the table early tonight. And we've seen all kinds of stumbling, bumbling. Richard Jefferson just losing his balance as Chauncey Billups backs nicely out of his way. Ben Wallace, another block shot there, leads the NBA in that. Never mistake activity for achievement.
New Jersey couldn't care less about the tempo. They like being up by 9 on the road. Players fouling each other to the teammates now. Billups. Nice feed inside to Wallace, but an offensive foul. Jason Collins stood his ground after Billups passed it off. And Billups picks up his first. Good defensive work from Collins.
Chauncey continues to struggle. It has been a night. Remarkable the numbers that he puts up when they win, and the numbers he fails to deliver when they lose. 0 for 4 already.
2 turnovers. Rogers. A whistle
They
before.
got it called.
Yeah. Leon Wood says even Byron Scott laughing.
I think Byron is laughing at the shooting percentages in this game. The Nets are 31%. Detroit is at 28. Jason Kidd was spectacular. 8 points and 4 assists. Yet to score. Does have an assist.
Kidd's defense never gets as much of the publicity as his passing ability. It's a really nice floater, but Jason Kidd goes so hard on the defensive end. Not only in his own end, but he's a superb help defender as well.
The only thing that Jason Kidd is not great at. Watch out. He could shoot. History of the game would be different.
But so much of his game is just outworking his opponent. Collins gets fouled. You look at guys like Kenyon Martin and Jason Kidd are 2 guys who they outwork their opponents almost every single night.
A lot of guys work hard.
Not a lot of guys work as hard as them.
A lot of guys work hard. This guy's got talent, Jason Kidd. And to me, the most puzzling thing about Jason is that he's never been able to manage. I don't think at this age, he's already past 30. It's not like he's going to change his game. It's not like he's going to become a dead-eye shooter. And when we've seen guys who come in the league who couldn't really shoot, Magic Johnson comes down, became fabulous shooter.
The best shooting number of his career, he shot 44% with Phoenix back in the lockout season.
That was the best?
That was the best.
Wow, that's not good.
Meanwhile, the Pistons can't shoot a free throw successfully. The Nets, or the Pistons can't shoot a free throw at all. They haven't been to the line yet. And as Hamilton can't hit that, and the Nets can't hit a free throw. New Jersey 6 of 13 from the line. And again, Pistons have yet to be there. Nice passing. Wallace with the rebound. You know, I always like to build. I like to give the benefit of the doubt to people and to teams and talk about how, you know what, it's good defenses doing this, but this is just an ugly first half. The amazing thing is that the Pistons, Jefferson makes a nice move.
You guys are trying hard.
The Pistons never mistaken activity for achievement. Did you tell me that about 10 minutes ago? But the Pistons are only down 9 despite playing so poorly. They're shooting 29% from the field. They've turned it over 9 times. It's amazing that they're even in the game.
Play the whole first half. They wouldn't.
Prince now off the mark. Good defensive play from Chauncey Billups. Nice feed. Poole couldn't catch it. Wallace with the left hand. Ben Wallace has been the best offensive player tonight. Kid right down the other end of an offensive foul. Tayshaun Prince steps in and draws the charge. Kid thought that Prince was in the restricted area.
Only the replay will tell for sure.
And we're going to have a timeout. With 21.5 remaining. Larry Brown just pointed to Leon Wood, the official, and said 0 foul shots. 0 foul shots. A 7-point game. Tomorrow, Capital One Bowl Week continues here on ESPN2. Heisman Trophy finalist Larry Fitzgerald leads the Pittsburgh Panthers against the Virginia Cavaliers. It's the 2003 Continental Tire Bowl tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern. Part of Capital One Bowl Week on ESPN and ESPN2.
So how about those Knicks? How about Isaiah Thomas?
Interesting move. Of course, the former Piston great now running the show and is already making his presence felt.
Do you really see Allen Houston and Keith Van Horn as bad boys?
Every team has to have their finesse players, and every team has to have their physical players. But Isaiah Thomas back in the league, no matter what he's doing, whether it's coaching, whether it's playing, whether it's being a president, that's a good thing.
That's a golden parachute for Isaiah. We really want to wish him well. It's going to be a tough road, though. It's not an easy fix there in New York.
Yeah, he's had a lot of challenges in his career, but it's a team that's over the cap. They've been out of the playoffs the last couple of years, but he's a very smart guy, very creative, but he's got his work cut out for him.
How many of those guys will be on the roster next year?
I think he's going to be one to make a number of changes. You see the number there for the Pistons. This will be the fewest points they have in half this year. Terry Kittles with the foul. Nets had a foul to get. Smart foul from Kittles. And that's his first.
That's the reason why you don't really like to call that 20-second timeout instead of that last play, because then the defense gets set and dug in, and they get alerted to the fact that they have that foul to give.
Trying to get it to Hamilton. Hamilton was 3 of 10 from the field. Prince for 3. First half for the Detroit Pistons as they shoot just 30%, 12-minute quarters, 34-27 as we look at our Chevy game track.
Why are you so negative? The Pistons explode for 30% shooting and get 27 points out of that. Richard Jefferson, though, unable to hit the jumper. A beautiful effort by Kenyon Martin. Second chance point definitely in favor of the New Jersey Nets, who have dominated most of the statistics. And where is Chauncey Billups? Please, make a shot. Lay off a pass. Quit running over people. Do something one time.
Billups, their leading scorer at just under 19 per game. All right, but Bill, what is Detroit? What's the #1 adjustment they need to make?
Play offense. Come down here. Don't make it so hard. Don't make every single play a struggle and grind it out. Where's the penetration and dish? Where's the transition opportunities?
And obviously, to be fair, the Nets defense a big part of it. New Jersey playing defense like they've had the last couple of years. As Jefferson off the dribble.
I think it's a critical time for New Jersey right here, much more so than Detroit. This is the time you can bury it here. You got Detroit get any sort of momentum. The crowd will be all fired up. Dave Bing, the Hall of Famer, one of the 50 greatest, is here in attendance tonight. He'll inspire the crowd.
How will Dave Bing inspire the crowd? well look they've been. Billups flips up the shot. He still scores.
Chauncey Billups is averaging 5.5 points less a game over the last 5 games. Oh, that works. Watch out.
Then you know you're in big trouble. Billups has had sometimes, he's been inconsistent at sometimes this year. A key for Billups is getting to the free throw line. When he gets into the paint, when he gets fouled, he's in the top 10 in the NBA in free throws made and free throws attempted, but they haven't shot a free throw yet. Hamilton at one, and now they'll go to the free throw line.
But if Rip Hamilton has to create for himself, Detroit's in a lot of trouble. He's at his best moving without the ball. You can take Jason Kidd off the dribble. Kenyon Martin a little bit late there. You want to come out and meet the attacking offensive player before he gets in the air.
The foul on Kenyon Martin. That's his third. And Hamilton hits the free throw. The first free throw attempt of the game for the Pistons. And again, despite all the problems they've had, they're only down by 6.
New Jersey only shot 32% in the first half. I like the defensive pressure by the Pistons.
Jason Kidd from downtown. And Kidd now in double figures.
What a shooter.
I'm just going to move on if that's okay. Hamilton into Wallace. Now Wallace, it's nice to see him be able to take some shots and look for his offense. As Hamilton can't get that to go. Of course, tip won't go. Fight for the ball, and it's still Pistons ball. But what he does a lot, Bill, he just flips the ball up. He just takes his time to take a better shot. It's just he's flipping the ball up towards the rim and hoping it goes in. That's why he's shooting just 40%.
He has no confidence in his offensive game. Had so many coaches over the course of his career telling him never shoot. Pass it to somebody else and just go rebound.
You know, that time, he took his time. He took a legitimate shot as just opposed to just flipping it up there. Jefferson, good aggressive move, but comes up short. Good defensive play from Tayshaun Prince.
RJ, a woeful 3 for 9 in the first half. Pass.
Billups, Chauncey Billups finally gets on the board. It took him over 26 minutes.
Not like it's a one-game slump. It was 3 for 14 at Milwaukee.
The thing is he's averaging a career high in points. He's averaging a career high in assists, but it's been an inconsistent start for him to the season. That's a 3. Kittles can't connect, and Wallace pulls down his 7th rebound. Hamilton. Foul. Richard Hamilton getting to the goal. And he can now pull the Pistons to within 4.
And the crowd coming alive. Nervous time for Byron Scott and Richard Jefferson as they sort of sense momentum sliding away. The crossover, change of pace and change of direction. The explosive finish at the hoop. Who's going to stop that? Especially when you're running backwards all the time.
Do you think Larry Brown told his team to take the ball to the basket at halftime?
You don't know. He's getting paid, what, $34 million for this game?
His team now back within 4. They're early in the 3rd. Nets have led the entire way by as many as 13 as Kerry Kittles answers back and makes it a 6-point game.
I like the execution of New Jersey tonight. Moving away from the ball. Double screen that time for Kerry Kittles. Hard passes right into the rhythmic shooting.
That's number 1 assist man, of course, Jason Kidd. Wallace gets inside. There's a good high percentage shot for Ben Wallace. Wallace with 6 points.
So you see Detroit starting to make New Jersey play a half-court game. Not the strength of the Nets.
Kittles, Hamilton fighting over a screen. Kenyon Martin slipping inside. Good pass to Collins. Okoro looked like he may have gotten a piece of it. He's a pretty good defensive player, though.
Outstanding all-around player. I'm not sure why he's struggling so much, other than the fact that this is basically his rookie season.
Well, there's your answer. Okoro. Wallace hammered by Martin, and Kenyon Martin has just picked up his 4th foul with 8:07 remaining here in the 3rd.
Memo Okoro walks over to Leon Wood and says, "Look, I'm bleeding, and I don't even get to go to the foul line."
Okoro aggressively going to the basket, and that sets it up. Now here's the play that he was down the other end of the court.
One of the problems that Detroit has is their spacing. Ben Wallace and Okoro tend to hang at the basket, so very tight. You got to move away from the basket on penetration, allow that space, and then after the guy is committed, you follow in and finish.
So Martin will sit down for a while as Wallace goes to the line. Wallace, one of the worst free throw shooters in the history of the NBA, is actually shooting pretty well from the line. This time off the mark, but he's shooting a career high this season from the line at about 55%.
So who's the worst free throw shooter you've ever seen?
He's right up there. Chris Dudley is up there. It's a three-point game. Unbelievable how badly the Pistons looked in the first half, and they're only down by 3.
That's the problem for New Jersey. Can they put him away? They have not been able to win in this building.
Jefferson with a couple of perimeter jumpers. And Richard Jefferson now with 13 points to lead all scores.
Funny because Jason Kidd's penetration is not really getting it into the paint to draw the defense, and yet he's still able to create opportunities.
Wallace against Collins. Little drop step blocked down low. I think it was Rodney Rogers got a piece of that.
RJ desperately looking for Jason Kidd.
Jefferson again. And O'Connor with a rebound. O'Connor had a big rebound game earlier this season. Had an 18 rebound game. He's got 9 here tonight.
I thought the best game the Pistons played all year was the Laker victory here at the Palace.
O'Connor now in double figures in rebounds. He hasn't scored a point, but he's got 10 boards.
The NBA's best rebounder is Kevin Garnett. We're going to see him against Zach Randolph in the second. Second best is Tim Duncan. Wallace is third, but tonight it's been O'Connor.
O'Connor finding Hamilton. Good help defense from Jason Collins. Prince for 3. Tayshaun Prince is hot early, has now missed his last 5 shots from the field. And a reminder, as Bill mentioned, we'll see Kevin Garnett coming up a little bit later on ESPN2 as the Timberwolves in Portland against the Trailblazers. Then tomorrow, the Nets with the second game of this difficult back-to-back. They're playing at Conseco Fieldhouse and the Indiana Pacers on NBA TV.
Will Latrell Sprewell be able to continue the hot hand that he had at the Garden earlier this week? 31 points.
Jason Kidd and a foul. Billups looking at Mark Davis in disbelief about the call, but Kidd walks to the free throw line with a chance for a 3-point play.
What a shooter. Just can't back off this guy. Chauncey Billups doing his best. Remember last year in the Eastern Conference Finals, Jason Kidd hit that jumper right over there in that same corner to give him the big victory. They swept the Pistons.
4 straight in the finals. This Kidd knocks down another. You know, we talked earlier about how Kidd is one part of his game that's never been consistently good, but he's shooting the ball very well from the perimeter tonight. 6 of 11. 16 points.
Last time he missed a shot.
Hamilton comes right back with a 2.
Have you noticed that Larry Brown doesn't call timeouts anymore?
Letting his team fight through it. None of the veteran coaches like to do that. Hamilton, meanwhile, 8 points in this third quarter. Rogers off the mark.
Rodney had a tough night tonight. 1 for 7.
Hamilton dribbled it off his leg, but Kidd touches the sideline, and it's still Piston ball. Just over 5.5 remaining in the third. Pistons within 8.
Testing trucks on the road.
Welcome back to the Palace of Auburn Hills. I'm now joined by the Detroit president of basketball operations, Joe Dumars. And Joe, I know the expectations with the fans coming into this season were very high given their performance last season. One gets the sense your expectations were a little bit different. Talk about what you've seen thus far from your team.
Get himself in position to hit that shot, big shots down there, and finish with 22 points, 4 for 8, 8 assists. Wow. So he helped his other team.
Right now, we're struggling over the last week or 2.
The other news story of note, the one that everyone's talking about, you passed Carmelo Anthony with the number 2 pick. You go with Darko. Tell us how he's progressing.
He's progressing greatly. You know, once again, we said early on, look, he's not going to come in and be a savior. He's not going to come in and play a whole lot of minutes right away. Be patient with us. And coaches love him, his teammates love him, and we do too. And he's coming along great.
Carlos Delfino, the other first-round pick you had, he's overseas. There's talk about a contract buyout for next season. What are the chances we'll see him in a Detroit uniform next year? And if so, what can we expect from him?
You know what? We just talked to the GM over there, to the general manager of their team last week, and you know, everybody said, hey, he's going to be with you guys next year. We just wanted him for one more year, so we expect him to be here next year.
Excellent, Joe. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Mike?
All right, Doris. Now, Delfino was the other first-round pick. He's a 6'7" guy from Argentina who can play the 2 or the 3 they love. There's Milicic, who obviously hasn't played much. But Dumars has pretty much said that he felt last year's team went as far as they were going to go, and they may have to take a step back in order to eventually win a championship. That's one of the reasons why Milicic was taken. Again, Okor and Tilshire of Princeville, and we disagree on this. Nice fit inside Jefferson. They're 2 very good players, but they don't have the same kind of experience as Clifford Robinson or Michael Curry, and maybe this year you have to take a step back for 2 years down the road to maybe trying for an NBA championship.
Give me talent over experience any day, and I'm just wondering if they lowered the ticket price. If they lowered expectations.
Well, that's a whole other story, as Wallace on the follow right there. But a lot of personnel people would not make that kind of move because, hey, Joe Dumars, if he would have kept the team intact, probably would have won another 50 games. This way, yeah, they might lose more games this year, but in the long run, maybe another title for this franchise.
I believe in Joe Dumars, and I have faith in him.
Rodgers, good second effort by Rodgers, but he can't get it to fall.
The Pistons can't even make a layup tonight.
Prince, good pass to Williamson, but he rushed the shot. Late whistle and a foul. Jefferson hopping up and down, but that's a good call from Leon Wood.
Late whistle is the appropriate word.
As long as it's called, that's all that matters.
Absolutely, but Leon waited until he saw the shot wasn't going to go in. A clear push in the back by Richard Jefferson.
Now, you look at it there, it doesn't look severe, but that's enough to push Williamson out of the way. Williamson, when they now go to the line, as Jefferson picks up his second.
That's one of the subtle things that you learn in the NBA, that little push right when the guy is getting into his jump.
Williamson rattles it in. Corliss Williamson, part of his problems that he's had sometimes in his career, he's played for 7 coaches in now his 9th year in the league. And he always says every year, as a new coach feels he has to prove himself again. Is his best position a 3 or is it a 4? And he has to go through this. And Larry Brown has high hopes for him, but he just has not been consistent this season, much like many of his teammates.
Corliss is a good quality person, plays a team all the time. The fans love him.
Pistons again to cut it to 4. Kills with the tip. Larry Kills gets down low.
Jason Collins at 7 feet. Rodney Rogers at 6'6". Big, strong, beefy guys can't finish layups. And Curry Kittles, a little petite guys that come in and kiss it in.
Billups. Come on. Billups now 1 of 7 from the field. Comes right back and makes a good defensive play on Richard Jefferson. Jefferson against Texas. He's been arguing the last couple of calls. That was a bad call. Billups and a whistle outside. And now you see the officials perhaps doing a smart thing here. First half we talked about it. Very physical game. But it was physical at both ends. They let him play. Now it's getting a little bit over the line and the officials are tightening it up. There's Mark Davis, one of the 3 refs. Bennett Salvador, the crew chief. And of course you mentioned Leon Wood, who's under the basket there. A former player who actually played for the New Jersey Nets in his career.
But Detroit is coming out with a much different attitude here in the 3rd quarter. They have responded, a la Bill Lambier, Rick Mahorn, Rodman, Edwards.
A case in point, 0 free throw attempts in the first half. They've taken 10 already here in the 3rd quarter. Sometimes it's just simply a matter of being more aggressive and going to the basket.
Robert Rogers would ever do it. But the bench really has not delivered behind the star all season long.
Kevin Martin on the bench with foul problems. Aaron Williams hurt. Rogers 1 of 9 from the field. They get 1 of 10 as Prince gets the board.
New Jersey's bench has the 2nd worst field goal percentage of any team in the NBA.
Williamson cuts it to a 2-point game.
Byron Scott, he's not afraid to
so well for the Miami Heat, and this is a tough blow. You see the rookie go down hard.
Tough fall there. He's not able to break his fall, used his wrist there. You hope he didn't fracture that wrist because he's been playing so well for this team.
Well, it's being termed as a right wrist injury. The Heat win the game, but they lose a guy who's averaging 21 points in the month of December. Meanwhile, KG got the beats banging on his iPod as he gets ready for tonight's game in Portland. T-Wolves and Trailblazers, that's coming up at 10:30, guys.
That'll be a fun one to watch later. This one suddenly has become rather enjoyable. The Pistons on a 10-2 run.
Well, we can only hope that Dwayne Wade's going to be okay, because that's really starting to happen down in Miami once again.
A little difference when you get to the free throw line. Wallace with the steal. And do they call a foul? Yes. Collins grabbed him from behind. Not a clear path foul, as some of the other nets were ahead of him.
So loud in here, you can't hear the whistle.
I didn't hear it. I just saw Bennett Salvatore waving his arm.
But now is the time that you need a competitive response out of the net.
Look at that difference. And that's, again, it's not just the second half. It's the first 9 minutes of the third quarter.
Jason Kidd, who's been perfect here in the third quarter, 3 for 3, needs to make a play right here. Rodney Rogers, who has not even been able to make the gimme layup tonight, goes to the bench. Brian Scalabrine in.
Rogers 1 of 10. Scalabrine, remember we talked about how some guys don't go with the headband? He should have opted not to go with it.
You say that. That's a good look.
It reminds me of another redhead with a headband of years past.
One of the finest looks in the history of the NBA. What was I thinking?
He lost that one. Oh, hard quick Collins sends Hamilton down to the ground. Hit blocked by Prince. Jefferson had to put it up in a 24-second violation. Things have changed. What a different attitude the Pistons have brought out from the locker room at halftime.
Well, started with Rip Hamilton. Just taking it to the hoop, getting to the free throw line.
Meanwhile, the other end, it's energized them. Detroit has 10 blocks in the game. You have the NBA's leader in that category. Williamson, tough fall-away shot. They've come back from 13 down to even it up with 2 minutes to play here in the third, and it's the bench that's been a big part of it.
The Nets can't run out of it. Where's Kenny?
Scalabrine wide open. That's exactly what they put him out on the floor to do.
Scalabrine can play. Doesn't have the athleticism that some of the players around the league have. He's got that skill.
Former second-round pick in his third year out of Southern Cal. Scalabrine has not played much his first 2 years. He's had more of a chance. He's been struggling recently. That's a big shot. Williamson using his body well down low. Wallace Williamson, who had a season-high 20 points in the first game against New Jersey, has 12 points in 14 minutes tonight.
Where's Kenyon Martin? Is he in foul trouble? Is he injured?
4 fouls. He sat down earlier in the period. Coming up on a minute remaining in the third.
It's a tough matchup for Jason Kidd.
2 on the shot clock. Jefferson. Terrific defense that time from Chauncey Billups.
Rip Hamilton is playing at a different speed than everyone else.
Prince. And Scalabrine able to come away with it. Good pace finally after that dreadful pace of the first half. Look at Billups fighting Jefferson down low.
Jefferson will be on the porch.
Prince. Hit, can't hit. Wallace with another rebound. 12 boards for Ben Wallace. Williamson to Prince. And the Pistons have their first lead of the game. Detroit has a foul to give. Shot clock turned off. Well, Billups he fouled Jason Kidd deliberately. They didn't call it. Here's Billups. Billups puts it in with less than a second remaining.
I love this game.
The Palace has has erupted. They missed that foul. Billups intentionally fouled Jason Kidd. They have the foul to give. They let it go. And the Pistons on an 18-4 run have taken the lead after 3.
This is Labatt Blue, the clean, crisp lager imported daily from Canada. Its refreshing, honest taste comes from a brewing tradition first established in
Cut. No, I really didn't feel that one. Could we, record it again? Let's get some more blue in there.
Break out the blue. Labatt Blue.
Alrighty, take 4. We're getting there, guys.
I'm so sick of going to the mall.
They say the shopping day and night on eBay. They say the savings are beyond compare. The deals are good, I know they are.
You saved a bunch on that guitar
and used it all to buy this jar on eBay.
Simple, really. If we could get everybody in the country to drive the all-new Chevy Malibu, we think you'd agree. It's just about perfect.
New Chevy Malibu. Available with OnStar. Visit ChevyMalibu.com for details.
After finishing his worldwide rounds, Santa's getting some well-deserved R&R. He's not thinking about the stuff he forgot. But Radio Shack is. We've got the things you need to make the stuff Santa brought work, including accessories for PlayStation, Nintendo, and Xbox, so you can enjoy the rest of the holidays. He sure is. Radio Shack. You've got questions, we've got answers.
Rockstar Games presents Grand Theft Auto 3.
What a turnaround here in the third quarter. After just 27 points in the first half, the Pistons explode for 31 in the third and now lead by 4. And those two with terrific performances in that third period.
And punishing them in the paint. Now the final play of the third quarter. With the foul to give, Chauncey Billups grabbed Jason Kidd towards the ball up. They don't even call it. Chauncey Billups able to establish great position. Don't you just love the home court advantage?
Kidd was very upset. They felt the foul should have been called. They just played Welcome to the Jungle here at the end of the third quarter. It was like the Botanical Gardens in the first half, but all of a sudden the Pistons got mean, and Wallace Williamson pushed off. Call for the foul there. So Williamson now with 4 fouls.
There's nothing quite like that New York Botanical Garden over at Fordham University.
It's a lovely place to stroll through and enjoy the foliage.
One of the same plants I saw outside here today in full bloom.
And there's a foul call. Richard Hamilton. The Nets have now seen the 13-point lead fall to the wayside. Let's find out what Byron Scott talked about in the huddle. We go to Doris Burke.
Didn't talk about any defensive adjustments, Mike. He simply diagrammed a play and said to his guys, let's go. This is it. Fourth quarter. We've got to play. We've got to get this lead back. Mike?
Well, finally, the Pistons match their intensity, match their energy, and New Jersey has to come back again.
I think the biggest problem with the Nets right now, they're just getting pushed around. Corliss Williamson, Rip Hamilton, Ben Wallace.
Williamson. Oh, double clutch there for Corliss Williamson. Well, that's 13 points.
Former 6th man of the year.
6-point lead. Backdoor Jefferson. Boy, that's a nice pass from Kenyon Martin, who returns after sitting most of that third quarter with 4 fouls.
How long is it going to take him to get warmed up and back into the physical fray that this has become?
Atkins. Jermaine Folks haven't lost it. And here's where it gets so good. Up out of the boards to lead the break. Martin quickly, just like that. Bang, bang, 2 quick buckets.
Nice job by Scott running ahead of the play to take the defense with him.
See the Pistons bench. That, of course, 14 of those 20 for Wallace Williamson, who has had his struggles this year, but not against the New Jersey Nets. And Leon Wood, that is calling a foul away from the ball down low.
The main focus with the ball in his hands, Jason Kidd just too quick. And then Scalabrine out of the way in time to allow Kenyon Martin to finish strongly.
Lucius Harris committed that last foul. That's his first. On the floor right now for the Pistons, Tremaine Folks, Chucky Atkins, Corliss Williamson, 3 bench players, along with Wallace and Hamilton.
Zone defense here for the first time for the Nets. What kind of outside shooting for Detroit?
And that ball off the mark. So the Pistons will play.
New Jersey basketball.
Scalabrine trying to post up. Now goes to set a pick. And see, the officials are calling it a little tighter. Players have to adjust.
What's happening is that the refs have let it go so far that the Pistons are saying, well, they're not going to call anything. Let's just start shoving the Nets out of bounds.
Most players will tell you they like when the officials let them play, as long as it's consistent at both ends. And that was the case. Neither team had a right to beat because they let them play at both ends. But now it's gotten a little too physical. They're trying to tighten it up. Harris off the screen. Looking for all the latest news on the NBA. Watch NBA TV Insiders every night, 6:30 Eastern on NBA TV to find out tomorrow's NBA news today.
I'm amazed that Lucius Harris can even play.
Prince has it knocked away. Williamson right there. Prince again. Draws the foul. Scalabrine hit it because of the ankle problems.
Well, he's got back problems with pain running down his legs. And when he gets down to his legs, he's got 2 sprained ankles. How are you going to move? How are you going to prepare?
Well, that's one of the reasons that the Nets haven't played as well, because he's a big player off the bench and he's clearly not 100%. Prince hits the free throw.
And you can see it in his face. I ran into him at the hotel today. He's just a different looking person right there. That sense of confidence, that aura of invincibility that most NBA stars have is just not there for Lucius right now. It's sad to see.
Prince, meanwhile, misses the second 10 points for Tayshaun Prince. Harris with the offensive rebound. Jefferson, let's slow it down.
Richard not shooting well from the outside, a wise decision.
Jefferson, beautiful pass from Harris. Richard Jefferson with 19 points puts the Nets up by 1.
Unlimited potential of Richard Jefferson. One of the reasons why he was selected to be on the national team this past summer.
Jefferson, like Kenyon Martin, you see the improvement every year in all aspects of their game. All that's deflected by the Nets. So it's going to be Pistons ball. 9 remaining on the shot clock. A good one here at the Palace as the New Jersey Nets back up with a 1-point lead.
This team to a big win.
Corey Blunt, the block. Jamal cracks 30 points for the 4th time in his career as they knock off the Cavs. LeBron 7 of 24 from the floor. Meanwhile, what are those 3 guys talking about, Greg?
I think KG wants to know who's the #2 player in the NBA. I wonder if he's listening to
He must have been listening to Stephen A. Smith. That game is next, the Wolves and Trailblazers.
All right, guys. The guy they left out of the picture when they zoomed in was Sam Cassell. Boy, he is playing some unbelievable basketball. One of the underrated guys. Speak about an underrated guy. Richard Jefferson, one of those.
Over the top, Richard Jefferson, the beautiful execution out of the set offense. Fake coming to the ball and back cut. The basis of every set offensive play.
Billups, meanwhile, able to get that one to go down. And the Pistons back up by 1. Jefferson, and he's fouled from behind. Scalabrine with a nice pass as Tayshaun Prince will pick up his second.
Now, Mike, I know you're an outstanding basketball player in your own day, but when you were guarding guys who weren't making shots from the outside, did you deny them possession and then get back cut for layups and dunks on a constant basis?
Maybe he just had a really good fake. Maybe his plan was to have a missing free throw.
Oh, Tubby Smith is scratching his head tonight saying, Tayshaun, I know I did a better job at Kentucky all those years.
How about New Jersey from the free throw line? 6 for 15. Now 7 of 16, that's 44%. That is downright awful. tie game, though, with 8.5 to play.
Your negativity is really getting to me.
The free throws is one thing that really upsets me, Bill.
Can Corliss Williamson keep it going?
Williamson with a big second half thus far. Martin played him well. Also, Martin makes you shoot the ball a little further out than you want.
Martin's a better defensive player than Scalloway.
He's a better defensive player. He's got everybody.
Except Kevin Garnett.
You almost said it. You almost agreed with me. Oh, Jason Kidd on the side.
Points in the paint for New Jersey, some second chance points, things that really got away from them there in the third as they completely lost momentum.
And here you see the second chance points. Kidd, by the way, 18 points, 9 assists, 8 rebounds, close to another triple-double.
Fourth in the all-time list.
Wallace against Kenyon Martin. Martin knocks it away, the right to Williamson, strip for the foul. And they call it against New Jersey. It's not in the penalty yet. It's the 13th foul.
The ability of Jason Kidd to play the
You almost said it.
create his own shot. Not the real strength of his game, but the rebounding, the passing, and the sense of competitive greatness that he brings every single time. The power in his legs.
The non-stop motion. Billups. Chauncey Billups from downside. And all of a sudden, Billups finding the mark. He's got 11 points. And the Pistons back up by 1.
The only guy who makes more three-pointers for his team as a percentage is Tracy McGrady from the Orlando Magic. That's how important Chauncey's three-point shooting is.
That's how important Kenyon Martin is to be on the floor for this team. He's had a good 8 minutes in the third quarter. That's when the Pistons turned it around. Martin now at 9 points, 9 boards.
Staying in that zone defense, and why not? The ice cold shooting from the perimeter from Chauncey through the wrong.
Boy, Martin was up. Here's Jefferson. Prince is a very good defender. He opened eyes last year when he finally got a shot in the playoffs. He guarded both Tracy McGrady in one series and Allen Iverson in another.
Important time for Scalloway. Playing pivot for him.
Jefferson. Again, Prince contesting the shot well.
Nice defensive stop in transition by Jason Kidd.
Both teams, really, their success last year in getting to the Eastern Conference Finals. Williamson, maybe got a piece of it.
Definitely brought that.
But both teams got there because the defense is Jefferson can't get it. Yes, it does fall. That looked like it was coming out.
I was ready to go get that rebound. It was so far out. Just a spin. Larry Brown, he does call a timeout. I'm shocked. Mark this date down in NBA history.
9-point turnaround here in the fourth. Pistons are up by 6. They now trail by 3.
The greatest adventure of all time.
The game is on.
Critics call it a mind-blowing adventure.
Eyes open.
With amazing action. Sean Connery.
Get up.
The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Own the DVD today.
Torque. In theaters everywhere starting Friday, January 16th. And Nicorette Gum. You can do it. Nicorette can help.
Just midway through the fourth quarter. And right now, the New Jersey Nets with a 3-point lead over the Pistons.
When doom seemed imminent, they got back to their core game, which is ball movement, running the floor, get everybody involved. First, Kenyon Martin battling through the foul trouble, gets back, creating for his teammate, dribble handoff for Lucius Harris. The over-the-top back cuts by Richard Jefferson, and then Ryan Scalabrine laying down beautiful dimes. Redheads with headbands, back to the basket. Johnny Red Kerr, Dave Cowens, what could be better?
This is a game that the Pistons have been on the roller coaster ride, much like the season. Started off poorly, then a great third quarter. Billups gets inside and draws the foul. And that's what Billups and the Pistons were not doing in the first half. They didn't shoot a single free throw. And this will be their 15th and 16th free throw of the second half. Let's go to Doris. Doris Burke, because Larry Brown obviously not happy last couple of minutes. Doris?
Well, Chauncey Billups taking his advice right there on the sideline. He said, guys, we need better spacing and ball reversal in the offensive end, attack off the dribble as Chauncey did there. He also told Chauncey defensively he's got Richard Jefferson, and he must keep him off the glass, Mike.
And the ironic thing, Doris, is that during the second half, when you look at the way the Pistons were turning the ball over in the first half, they only have one turnover the entire second half, despite being more aggressive on the offensive end.
It's the guys who hit first. It's the guys that work the hardest to make the fewest mistakes. Got to get it to Scalabrine. He can play that pivot in there. He did it so well for him who did it at USC.
Martin. Wallace stays right with him. Terrific play from Ben Wallace, who also rips down his 13th rebound.
That's the matchup I want to see the rest of the way. Martin and Ben Wallace.
Atkins for three. Kittle's able to put it in. Still 5 minutes remaining, along with Bill Walton and Doris Burke. Mike Green on hand from the Palace of Auburn Hills. It's a rematch of last year's Eastern Conference Finals.
Byron Scott elects to go with Kerry Kittles down the stretch instead of Lucius Harris.
Oh, nice fake from Jefferson. And Billups picking up the personal foul. They're not in the penalty yet. That's their 14th foul. Tomorrow night, the NFL's double coverage weekend kicks off. ESPN when MVP candidate Donovan McNabb and the Eagles take on NFC East rival Washington. All starts with NFL Primetime, presented by Miller Lite at 8 Eastern. And Sunday, Jamal Lewis looks to take and break the NFL's single-season rushing record as the Ravens battle the Pittsburgh Steelers. Big NFL weekend coming up. Those games, by the way, available in high definition on ESPN HD. Cable operator, DirecTV, or the Dish Network today.
What is up with the free throws for the Nets? I like their mental discipline in realizing that Chauncey Billups has no chance whatsoever to guard Richard Jefferson in the paint.
Nets now 8 of 18 from the line, but I don't want to mention that. They'll scold me for being negative again. Hamilton. Wallace. Triple team. And foul on the floor. That's now in the penalty, and now free throws coming up for Wallace, who from the line is just 1 of 4 tonight.
Byron Scott has come back with Jason Collins, who's got 12 big rebounds in this game. Scalabrine to the bench here to hack down, not called at all. And Wallace is so strong. I mean, you just love the guys who can just reach out in the crowd and pull that ball in. Jason Kidd is like that. Magic was like that. But the best was Larry Bird. His forearms were so powerful. Larry was not a guy who spent a lot of time in the weight.
Well, Ben Wallace does spend a lot of time in the weight room as he hits that first free throw.
How can you tell?
Just a guess.
I figure from looking at you that you and he trained together.
There's no need to take a shot at me. Wallace misses the second. Both teams forward from the line. Jefferson running the floor. Oh, terrific play from Jefferson. Came with the perfect pass.
Where's the push in the back? That's a very dangerous play. That's the play that I want referees to call every time.
Nets up by 4 after trailing by 6 here in this fourth quarter, so a 10-point turnaround. And Melo Okoro against Kenyon Martin with an aggressive play.
And that is Melo Okoro's first bucket of the night. He's too good a player. Come up with a donut.
He's got 10 rebounds, but had missed his first 4 shots from the field prior to that one.
Larry Brown bringing Tayshaun Prince quickly against Gardner.
Kenyon Martin, left-handed, won't go. Wallace with his 15th rebound.
Nice transition defense by the Nets, who are back to man-to-man with a bigger lineup.
Hamilton running off screens. Hamilton going for play. Okoro with a great pick to set it up.
That's the spacing of a big man. Doing the right thing. Jason Kidd and Byron Scott, they got to get on the same page here.
Richard Hamilton coming up big in the second half. The Detroit Pistons down by as many half remaining in the fourth. Larry Brown, the head coach of the Pistons, has influenced a lot of players and coaches in his day. One of them is the guy on the other bench, Byron Scott, who played for Larry Brown. At the end of Byron's career, played in Indiana with the Pacers when Brown was the coach there. He talks about Pat Riley and Larry Brown are 2 of the bigger influences he's had as a head coach.
And the ability of Byron Scott coming out of Arizona State, playing for the legendary Ned Wolf, then going to the Lakers and learning from the Masters. Kareem, Magic, Chick Hearn, Riley, Jerry West.
Martin against Wallace. Terrific matchup there. And Wallace with the foul. William Martin so strong. Very few in the league can match anything Ben Wallace can do down low, but Martin has that kind of strength.
Martin has done a fine job of staying out of foul trouble after he stood out most of the third quarter. He hasn't picked up a foul here in the fourth. And the theory on offense for a big man is get going in one direction, come back the other, and get in the air and take a mark and execute that to perfection.
Martin, who's 1 for 5 from the line before that, able to knock that down to give the Nets a 1-point lead. 10 points, 10 rebounds for Kenyon Martin. You see Wallace's numbers. Free throws have been a real problem for New Jersey tonight. At that time for Kenyon Martin.
Who's got the mental toughness to finish this game? The crowd is surging toward the court here.
Brown told us that down a stretch of some games that sometimes the Pistons don't get key stops, don't get key loose balls. Richard Hamilton can't get it. And Martin with a rebound.
Martin doing everything. Now they can just capitalize. Jefferson being hot. RJ at 25 points lead already.
That's by 2, just under 3 to play. Nice passing. Hit with the left hand, and they wave it off, and that's a good call. The ball is above the cylinder, and it may have gone in if Martin didn't touch it. It was an easy play. The Myers guy is complaining for Shippers lead. But not the easiest play of the night. Martin shaking his head, but that was a bad decision from Martin. I think his shot probably would have fallen through. Billups, that's a 3. Chauncey Billups gives the Pistons a 1-point.
Penetration is dish, and you think that Terry Kittles, as smart as he is, of course, Hamilton to his left and away from Billups.
Billups with 9 points here in the fourth quarter. That's a 3. And Wallace, his 16th rebound. Pistons have lost 6 of their last 8 games. They've been so inconsistent. They've been inconsistent in this one, but what a terrific second half. Richard Hamilton saying, I wanted a foul call.
The pass underneath the basket to Jason Kidd, that ball was coming out. If he would have waited a little bit longer.
But it was the right call. Still above the cylinder.
Without question, it was the right call.
Shot clock winding down for Detroit. Billups turns it over. And Kittles goes it off. Pass from Jason Kidd, and Jefferson finishes. How does he see his teammates?
You have to assume they're going to be there.
That's only the second turnover of the entire second half for Detroit, but that's what Larry Brown said. They picked the bad, crucial times to make those mistakes.
Jason Kidd has taken Rip Hamilton here.
Stripped the ball from him. Back-to-back turnovers for the Pistons at the worst possible moment.
What a great lead by Jason Kidd. Just calling his teammates out to get on his back.
Hamilton better be careful. He's been arguing the last couple of times about lack of calls down the other end. You see Kidd 1 rebound shy on his what will be his 5th triple-double of the season. Look at his pass.
That's why you don't want Terry Kittle handling the ball in transition. Terry's a scorer. He's a finisher.
Although he did get the ball into the right guy's hands.
Off his shin.
It doesn't matter how it gets there. Kidd 0 for 1 from the line.
Close games here in last year's Eastern Conference Finals, both won by the Nets.
That hit every part of the rim before it went through the hoop.
At least 4 times. Jason Kidd's defense dripping down low. And he hasn't been guarding Rip Hamilton, but with Rip Hamilton creating the offense for Larry Brown's Pistons, Kidd said, I got it. I'll shut it down.
All of a sudden, the Nets now hitting free throws. And Larry Brown calls timeout.
Another timeout for Larry Brown.
So Brown wants to talk it over. 1:13 remaining. Fourth quarter.
Water enjoying the game.
Lovely. Hamilton. Big shot from Rip Hamilton. Hamilton.
Hamilton is able to get by the defender. He's not shooting the ball that well from the perimeter. You might want to take a step back off of him.
Minute to go, 1-point game.
Shot clock definitely favors New Jersey.
Billups got a hand on it. Look at O'Core's hustle. Did they give them? No, they will not give Collins a timeout. He tried to call it, but Prince hops on him. But Memento O'Core made that play. Billups got the deflection, and then O'Core diving.
I thought the guy that made the play was Jason Collins, who dove on the ball. But that ball was in the possession of the Detroit Pistons. They should have had that ball, but Jason Collins went to the floor and grabbed it. Forced the jump.
Collins and O'Core, two big guys, not afraid to get dirty. Now they'll jump it up, but it's Prince who's going to do the jump.
And Collins has to go quick here. The
shot clock only stays at 7, the new rule. Jason Kidd. And O'Core with the rebound. So the old rule, the shot clock would have reset to 14, but this year it's 5 or greater. Pistons down by 1 with the ball. And the crowd is feet at the Palace. Billups wants to shoot. Has it knocked away again. Puts it up. Won't go. It has a foul. They got to foul him now. They've got a foul. And there's the foul with 16.8 remaining. Not a bad idea to try and steal the ball first, although it's tough to steal it from that guy. But now he will go to the line and shoot 2 free throws. Kidd 2 for 3 from the line tonight.
How about Jason Kidd's defense poking that ball away to force Detroit into a scramble, chaotic offensive attempt?
Billups, you could tell, wanted to shoot it. Didn't take a great shot and lost it a couple of times. Kidd, you see his season numbers from the line. Even if he hits both, Pistons obviously with a chance to tie it with a 3. And the Nets, who struggled from the free throw line the whole game, they were 6 of 14 after the first 3 quarters, but they're 7 of 9 here in the 4th quarter from the line. Two clutch free throws from Jason Kidd again. Kidd getting it done at the free throw line. Not over yet, though. Pistons down 3 with the ball when we return. 16.8 seconds remaining here in the 4th.
Here in Boston, internet users
are in 3 ties. Jason Kidd and the Nets up 3, but it's the Pistons' ball. Now, Bill Walton, they don't have to go for 3. If they can quick 2, they may have time. Will Richard Hamilton go for the 3?
The way he's playing right now, he has to have the ball right now. His second half performance, he has just been skyrocketing. Richard Hamilton set the tempo, the start of the 3rd here to get Detroit back into it, and he's been finishing mightily at the hoop.
But he's not a good 3-point shooter. He's shooting 19% from there, so they don't really need a 3 because they could score quickly, foul. They still have a 20-second timeout to advance the ball after free throws by New Jersey. And now Byron Scott's going to call at 20. He still has 2 timeouts left.
If I'm New Jersey, I just make this a free throw contest the rest of the way. And don't let them take any three-pointers at all. Now, Rip Hamilton doesn't have three-point range. That's not his game at all. But Chauncey Billups, Tayshaun Prince, O'Core can shoot it.
We can't get it to Rip.
There are some coaches who will go with that, where if you're up by 3 in the final seconds, you'll foul, put a guy at the line. There's no way you're going to let them take a 3 to tie the game and send it into overtime. A number of coaches will do that. Some don't want to take the chance if the guy happens to be fouled or sees the foul coming. Will take the 3-point attempt, maybe hit it, get fouled. The last thing you want is a 4-point play. But I agree with you. I like that of taking the 3-pointer completely out of it where they can't tie it.
Chauncey Billups with the inbound pass here. This is where O'Core really has to come away from the basket. And if I'm New Jersey, as soon as Ben Wallace touches the ball, foul.
Nets haven't won here much in the regular season, although had 2 big playoff wins last year. Hamilton, quick move, can't get it to go. Wallace is fouled, and it drops through with 10.7. A good bucket, plenty of time remaining. It's now a 1-point game.
Get the ball to Kittles or Kidd right now.
And they get it to Kidd, so Kidd's going to have to hit more free throws. As we mentioned, the Nets struggling from the line all night, but they've hit their last 7, including Kidd, who's hit his last 4.
Hamilton, obviously the plan was to go for 2 immediately. But when the big guys had to rotate over to deny the penetration by Kittle, excuse me, by Billups, Hamilton, whoever it is.
Either way, Kidd will go to the line again. Still, if he hits both free throws, it's a 3-point game. Pistons have a 20-second timeout to advance. And Kidd has his triple-double, 22 points, 12 assists, and 10 rebounds. His 5th triple-double of the season. And it's another clutch free throw. That's 5 straight big free throws down the stretch for Jason Kidd.
To see Jason set himself up to receive the inbound pass. And he's a terrific clutch free throw shooter. What Detroit was trying to do was deny him possession. He would have no part of it.
Trying to distract him behind the basket he's shooting at. And Kidd hits a pair. Now the Pistons will use their final timeout. It's only at 20, but that new rule from a couple of years ago, you can advance the ball to the front court on a 20-second timeout. Now, with 10 seconds left and out of timeouts, now the Pistons really have to go for the three-pointer.
And I think at that point, you have to foul before it even happens.
And you look coming up next, the Blazers will be hosting the Timberwolves. And again, Bill brought it up earlier. I agree with you. Now with 10 seconds to go, you know they're going to go for a three. Don't let them take a three with a chance to tie the game.
Don't even get set up for that. I mean, grab them, hack them, hold them, and put them on the line, and then just keep getting the ball to Jason Kidd. He has proved that he can gain possession of that ball on a decent inbound pass.
Some coaches, though, a lot of coaches, are hesitant to use that strategy. Let's see if Byron Scott will go with it. Jefferson, Kidd, Martin, Lucius Harris, and Kittle's on the floor right now. His defensive unit. Prince will take it out. Their numbers for three-point range for the Pistons.
Well, why is Ben Wallace still in the game? He's not going to make a three-point shot.
If they miss a three, maybe a rebound, kick it back out if there's time. In their last game.
It's just Chucky Atkins would be a nice addition.
Billups wants to shoot it. A three-pointer. Oh, just short. Wallace pulls it back out. Billups with a great look. Won't go again and get the rebound, and that will do it.
And that's why they had Ben Wallace on the court.
And Billups, that second shot was a terrific look. First one was contested, but it wasn't Chauncey Billups' night. And Larry Brown and the Pistons come up short. First one, watch Martin. Excellent help defense from Martin. And then Martin ran in, and a great ball fake from Chauncey Billups had a good look. But Martin's presence perhaps making him rush the shot. Kenyon Martin, 2 big defensive plays. A lot of big plays from several Nets, including Richard Jefferson, who's with Doris.
Richard took several key plays down the stretch. What made the difference for this basketball team late?
A lot of things. The play calling by Coach, he got us some great situations where we were easy to get easy shots. And, you know, J. Kidd hit some great free throws.
Second great offensive night, 26 and 27 back-to-back. What's gone on with you offensively?
Well, there were times where, you know, I was more concerned about my percentage. I wanted to shoot a good percentage, shoot 50% from the field. Now I'm just kind of relaxing. You know, if I miss a couple shots, I don't worry about it, and I become more aggressive.
Good luck the rest of the way, Richard. Michael?
Terrific game for Richard Jefferson. Nets have now won 8 of their last 10. Pistons have lost 7 of their last 9. And again, our final score from the Palace, that's 82. Now the Pistons, 79. Coming up next right here on ESPN2, it's the Minnesota Timberwolves at the Rose Garden in Portland against the Trailblazers. So for Bill Walton, Doris Burke, our entire ESPN crew, this is Mike Green saying so long from the Palace of Auburn Hills. Well, let's head back to the studio in New York and Kevin Frazier.
Kevin Garnett getting set. It's game 2 of our double dip. The T-Wolves taking on the Blazers. That man, a lot of people's MVP so far this season. Welcome inside our Times Square studio. Kevin, Bill, Greg, and Stephen A. Your usual suspects. And right off the bat, what is going on with the Detroit Pistons, Bill? I mean, they look like they're in disarray right now.
Oh, well, they're not playing well, and this is definitely not the way to start a really long homestand, and they're just struggling.
Well, if you look at New Jersey...